rewind the tape. What would you say to either people who are on OnlyFans currently or people who are thinking about it?
I'm gonna share something really deep that I've never talked about.
Stories where faith and culture collide. And this is a very interesting story because, as we know, within culture, there's all types of content creators, but some of those content creators are creating content in spaces and places that you dare not go, such as OnlyFans. And we have someone who was a massive OnlyFans content creator making millions of dollars, and then Jesus had a different plan. And we're going to talk about the different plan that Jesus had in the life of Nala Ray. So welcome.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
It's such an honor to meet you.
No, man, the honor's mine, man. I was telling you earlier, like, I've heard bits and pieces of like your journey.
Yep.
And the big statement that everybody sees is like the OnlyFans statement, but nobody just becomes an OnlyFans content creator. So there's a story behind that.
Absolutely.
And I would love to just kind of understand, some of the story behind that. So what I understand is like around 11, your parents divorced, there was a tornado involved. Like what happened here?
Well, the story like really starts building as like a younger kid and like more when I'm conscious, and I'm really very well aware of like what's going on in my life. And a tornado hit our home when we were in Billings, Missouri, and completely took everything from us. And that's tragic for a kid to, so what happened was the tornado knocked over this ginormous like 100-year-old tree into our room. Like I shared a room with my sisters, it was gone. So like if we wouldn't have gotten up, we would have been literally dead.
Wow.
So really crazy, but we lost everything. Our clothes, our toys, everything was gone, sucked out of the house. And so we kind of like just had to start over from there. We lived in a hotel for like 12 weeks. It was really long, having 5 children, you're living in a hotel room, all different ages. And I think my parents did the absolute best they could in that horrifying situation. As an adult, you process things different than a kid, so you're dealing with, oh my gosh, we have children, we have bills to pay, where are we gonna live next? And the kids are like, oh, we could just stay in a hotel for 12 weeks, you know what I'm saying? But we lost everything. It's just really hard to wrap your mind around that. But then, we got back on our feet. We're living in a home again. My parents divorced very shortly after that. So there was some infidelity there, and that hurt, So like, you just saying goodbye to your dad because he left, really, really sucks. And then like really not understanding why he left, because your parents are going to tell you the reason why, especially at a young age. They're just going to say, hey, we're getting a divorce. You don't even know what divorce is. You're like, but you guys said you're going to stay together forever, And then that's just not the case. And so it's so hard as a kid, I realized, to see your parents as like actual people. And I've heard that so many times, but when you reflect on that, you're like, wow, like when you're an adult, you just deal with things differently. And when you're a kid, you just expect to be like provided for and like everything's just gonna be okay, But then my dad was gone for a couple years and then they remarried. So he comes back into the family.
Okay, wait a minute, time out.
Time out.
It's a lot of trauma that you just experienced.
Oh yeah.
A tornado at 11 is traumatizing.
Yeah.
A divorce is traumatizing. Yeah. You're feeling the weight of that, like you're talking about, and then they get back together.
Like 2.5 years later, they remarry.
What was that? Were you seeing evidence of that, or did it feel like, wait, maybe they're gonna get back together, or what?
So my dad wasn't living, he was living in Mexico. So he completely just like left. It wasn't like a couple states away or maybe a couple minutes away. It was like, dude, you're gone. We cannot see you unless we get on a plane to see you.
Yeah.
So we went actually one time to go see him in Mexico, and he was just like, didn't even feel like my dad. It was weird, like very different person.
Wow.
And then shortly after that, my parents continued their communications. It was very rough, lots of arguing, lots of fights. My dad decided to move back from Mexico and get like a townhome kind of near where we are to start sharing custody with us. And then I guess they fell back in love. I don't know. I was being homeschooled by my mom, who was also going through her own stuff, like depression. And then all of a sudden your dad's back in your life and things are looking good, and you're like, okay, I'll take it, you know.
So you're probably what, around 14 around the time they get back
14,
together?
yeah.
So from
That's
like
a
11
lot,
to 14,
my gosh,
you're like, what are you feeling? Are you feeling like, man, are you feeling the weight of it? Is it like, do you feel rebellious, or do you feel like I don't care, or you just don't know?
I just don't know. And it's really hard because when you go through trauma, you really push that back. And as a kid, you don't even know you're going through trauma. But as an adult, you're like, man, I don't even remember how I was really feeling because it was just so much hurt all the time. So I wish I could reflect back on like how I was really feeling, but I can't. I think I've just pushed that so far out.
Pushed it back.
Right. Like, I just remember I just being confused, you know, like that's pretty much it.
Well, hey, I love Jesus, but I love therapy too.
I'd say like I didn't like the reaction I got from my parents wasn't as what like I expected, because you read it in the Bible and you're like, this big feast and he comes back and he's adored by his parents, you know, but that did not happen.
Ooh, we're gonna go there.
Woo,
but,
let's go there.
But before we do, I'm curious, like, your family gets back together and then your dad, does the whole family become a part of the church, or just your dad? Like,
whole
so
family.
how did that happen? What happened?
Oddly enough, like my parents moved us to Florida from Illinois, and that like my dad was a pastor in Illinois. So before that,
he was always a pastor.
not always.
Okay.
Because like after they remarried, that's when they started becoming like Christians. So it was like, okay, we started visiting a church there, and I was going to a Christian school, like a really tiny private Christian school, and slowly but surely, like this ball kept rolling where my dad wanted to be a pastor. And I was like, okay, sounds good. Like, all right. So we're in Illinois. We're like, my dad's a pastor all of a sudden. We are preacher's kids. And there was like 3 consecutive church splits. Yeah, with my dad being the head pastor.
Wow.
And
3?
you know what's crazy? I never thought about it like looking at my dad like it was his fault. Because you're like his kid. You know, you're like, my dad didn't do that.
Yeah.
But now if I get into some crazy stuff for you right now, my dad is actually facing a prison sentence right now. So, like.
yo. I'm already hearing a lot. We ain't even gotten to the OnlyFans stuff, and I'm already kind of overwhelmed by this. My gosh, bro. My gosh. How you become a pastor? You're responsible for 3 church splits. Normally you hear about 1, maybe 2. 3? And he in prison?
It's crazy because now that he is facing that, I look back on everything. Like my mind just won't stop going over all these details. Like what's going on? Like, was it really him, or was it the people of the church, or was it just different beliefs? You know, it's so hard to like see that because it's your dad, you know?
Yeah.
But he was also supposed to be like the spiritual leader,
Right.
you know? So I'm like, when did you fall out of love with Jesus, or when did you stop fearing God? It's not always about like not loving God. It's sometimes just about not fearing him, you know? Because when you fear God, you're stepping away from evil, you know? That's not even in your foresight. So, but yeah.
Did you feel inconsistency in the house? Like, did it feel like, cause you're like, oh, they started following God. Like, did you see them grow? And sometimes like, I don't know if this is like, looking back now that you know what it means to be a Christian, when you look back at them, do you feel like they were the model Christians, or you can see like, okay, I can see where they needed some growth?
That I really do see it as a Christian, because I was never like a Christian. I just felt like everything was being shoved down my throat, and I had to do it because I was the pastor's kid. I had to show up like Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday. Like I just had to be there, and it wasn't like my choice. It was like, you know what? You need to show face because you're the pastor's family, you know? And I know my other brothers and sisters feel the exact same way. And even my mom in some ways, I know she feels like that. Like, was just kind of like forced into this role when she wasn't even healed yet, you know, from all this past trauma. And then you have to step in a role as like a shepherd. Yeah. You're like, how do I even do that? Yeah. You know?
It's funny because now you set the stage in a lot of ways for like what you ended up a part of. And a lot of people just, they look at folks and they say, well, why would they make this decision, or why would they do that? And instead of saying like, why do people do what they do? Sometimes you have to say what happened to them.
Ooh,
you know what I mean?
That's true.
And that's how I'm listening at your story now, and I'm like, well, you know, I can see people saying, oh, she was on OnlyFans and does such and such.
There's such a backstory.
Yeah.
You know, someone doesn't just get on OnlyFans, become a millionaire, and then they're just like, whoop-de-doo, like, I just wanted to try it out.
Right.
No. And I think that's a big misconception right now with people, that they like, there's no way she became a Christian. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, you don't know how broken I was.
Man.
Let me build the clock for you so I can tell you the time.
Because becoming the OnlyFans content creator was not going to fill the void of all of the trauma that you experienced.
Preach it. I had such a void in my soul. Like, not just my heart, but like my very being was like chipped away, you know, from so much hurt. And don't get me wrong, I was a bad teenager, like a bad one. Like, out of 5 kids, I was the worst.
Talk about that.
You know?
What's happening as what does a bad teenager look like?
So rebellious.
What you do?
So stubborn. Like,
she was on that demon
time.
time.
Thought I knew what I wanted, you know, I want to do this, this, and this. I'm going to do this, this, and this, and I don't care what you say. You know what I'm saying? But like, for me, it really started with me liking boys. And I was like, hey, like, somebody likes me. I'm not like just this ugly duckling, you know, in my family.
You're isolated. You're homeschooled, so you don't know.
Isolated. And you just go to church and you're homeschooled. Like, that's about it. And I got a job when I was like 15 because I just wanted to get out of the house so bad. And then I found like I was just like flirting all the time, and I loved the attention. And you know what I realized? Like, once I went through like my love languages, I was like, oh, I love physical touch. Like, and I don't get that at home.
No one's
like,
saying, you're my sweetheart, I love you.
All I see is like my mom being depressed, and my dad is like not there mentally, you know? So I'm just like, and then I know my other brothers and sisters went through their own things, but once I kind of really started figuring out like what I loved and what made me feel loved, I could see like where I wasn't getting that. And that's where therapy comes in. But it's really nice to like reflect and kind of build like the puzzle piece back, and you're like, oh, okay, like I really understand that better now. So
you create, in a lot of ways, a false sense of love or security.
That's it.
And I know this because I experienced it, you know, coming from a traumatized background, not feeling affirmed in certain ways, you start looking for substitutes to like make you feel whole. And I did the exact same thing. So you're a teenager, you're chasing boys and enjoying the attention that boys are giving you. How are mom and dad, do they know about this? Are they finding out? Or
they didn't find out for a while. I'm going to share something really deep that I've never talked about, but I do feel comfortable now after I've like kind of gone through therapy, and I'm reading this amazing book called Soul Care. Really amazing book. So, but it really explained a lot to me. So my introduction into sex was when I was 13.
13?
I was molested by this person who my parents let into our home because he was like a 16-year-old kid. And my parents wanted to like basically adopt him because he had a really horrible home life. Like, I'm talking heavy drugs. And so they felt really sorry for him, but didn't really know him. And I was taken advantage of by him.
Parents, that's why you got to vet these people, man. You got to vet these people, because ain't no way in the world. I'm going to let this anybody around my kids. As I become older, I see myself in more of these situations as a parent. I would see red if I was her father. And I knew this.
And 13 years old, like I had no idea what any of that was. Like, I didn't know what I was feeling. I was just like, okay, like, and I didn't tell my parents until I was like 16, but they didn't even need to be told. They knew something was wrong. Like, I was sneaking out of the window at like 2 a.m, coming back at 4 or 5 a.m., you know, and just acting so wild, like crazy. Like, I started working like a 40-hour a week job at like 16. And I know you're not supposed to do that, but like my boss let me because I was a great worker, because I just needed purpose. Like I needed something to hang on to, because I didn't want to go back home, you know, and I just like stuck in this cycle of homeschooling and church going. And I didn't like my church. And like, I was just like, dang, I'm so stuck. Like it grips you, and it's like horrible as a teenager to feel like that. I didn't have any friends.
Yep.
Like, I don't know, like my siblings were my friends, and that's like not
They
cool.
have their own trauma.
They really do. Like,
Yeah.
they really do. And we took it out on each other for sure, but
Yeah, first of all, let me say I'm sorry that happened to you.
it's okay.
And no, I say that because
That's why.
I was also molested by a older teenage girl when I was a little boy. And
Yo, man, why can't these people keep their hands to themselves? Why can't these people just keep their hands to themselves? Why you gotta inflict trauma on everybody? Like, my gosh, yo. Hey, we dealing with some demonic forces out there. Everybody get molested and stuff? Dang.
and I shove it in the back of my brain because
Oh, yeah.
as a kid, you don't know how to process it, but you get older and you realize how it has negatively affected you in so
Oh,
many
yeah.
ways. And I just want to say, like, the reason why I say I'm sorry that happened to you is because I want you to, like, feel the same weight lifted off that I felt in knowing, like, oh, some of the decisions I made that were not healthy decisions are not just a product of me just being a
Yo, what's good?
Oh, I
Plopper
fully
good.
realize
What's
that.
good, my
You know,
man?
being a
What's good?
crazy
What's good?
hormonal
What's
Exactly.
good?
Yeah, and that's what I thought. Like, I was like, dang, I'm just whack, man. Like, what is wrong with me?
Yeah.
My parents made me feel like that, like, until I told them. And then they just threw me into therapy with like an 80-year-old woman. And I was like, this helps.
How you doing,
know?
bro?
So, and like, I kind of told her a little bit, but then she just said that like my introduction to sex was so dark and perverted that it's like, twisting the way I see sex.
Yes.
And it's not proper. It's
Yes.
not pure.
Yep.
It is not the way you're supposed to go about it. But I was like having, sex at like, I started having sex at like 15. And it was just
Sex
like,
at 15.
I needed that attention. Like I
Oh.
craved it. I didn't even know what I craved, but I knew I needed some love.
Yeah.
From somebody. Oh, it's
and
gone.
So it's like, it's not this. And so then you grow up like, that's not a big deal. It's just whatever.
Oh,
or
yeah.
it's
No,
a
Lecrae be
tool
wildin'
to
with
get
those
something
B-side
else or
commercials.
whatever.
That's what
So
the world teaches for
exactly.
sure. Especially if you talk to women nowadays. Yeah,
Right.
actually,
Might be on the same
like
wavelength.
my dad cheated on my mom. Like, really? Is it that important?
Yeah.
So it's hard to respect that, when you don't see that.
Yep.
So
Yep.
and as like a teenager, you're just
that-
like
let me put that in the
wilding
group.
with hormones and like you don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Like you don't even feel like you can go
How
to
long have I been
anybody
streaming
about
for?
it. Even your therapist is like 80 years old who's like drooling over there. I'm like, what am I gonna say to you?
Streaming for. I've been streaming for probably since, I want to say late October, or maybe late September rather. Late September, October-ish. But I didn't really take it seriously though until this year. Like this year is like the year I was like, okay, I'm gonna launch and I'm gonna set out to have a purpose with this. So yeah, in total about 4 months. But seriously, probably with about a few weeks. Yeah.
Bro,
The
like I'm
80-year-old therapist
embarrassed.
is killing me
No,
right now.
man.
I just
Oh,
see like
man.
Mr. Burns from The Simpsons trying to coach you through stuff. It's crazy to my brain.
That's wild.
So I appreciate you setting the stage,
Yeah.
and I think that's helpful, especially for folks who are just like, there's sticker shock, like OnlyFans.
I agree.
Like, whoa,
I
whoa.
agree.
But it's funny because I was watching some of your testimony with my daughter, who's 15, and
Awesome. You look too young to have a
hey,
daughter
come
that's
on.
15 years
Come on,
old.
talk
You
nice
said,
to me.
Black don't crack.
that's right. Unless you smoke it, don't smoke it.
Oh, dang.
But what was cool, what she asked me was, she was like, how do people know her? And I was like, what do you mean? And she was like, why was she so popular before she became a Christian? And I said, OnlyFans. And she said, how do people know about OnlyFans? And I love that, like, innocence.
Oh, it's so sweet.
That she
like,
had?
hang on to that.
Yeah, but it was interesting to me because I thought about it though, and I said, well, that's interesting because I wouldn't have known who you were because I don't.
You're not on that side of the internet.
Right.
It's a completely different side.
Whole nother world,
Oh,
whole
yeah.
nother planet. So I'm curious, like, what's the pinky toe before you get to OnlyFans? Like how does it like, or is it just like, oh, I'm gonna do that immediately? Like,
What are you
were
talking
there
about the
some
pinky
steps?
toe
Was it
for?
like, I'm gonna put some pictures up online that are a little like
Bikini photos on Instagram.
Okay.
And I was like a fitness chick, and I'm like, oh, I'm just doing this for fitness, like I look good, I go to the gym, like little tiny steps. And then like I had a boyfriend I was like sending nudes to, and I was like, oh, I'm comfortable with this. Like another doorway opened. And then I was like, I got so comfortable in that, some random guy like messages me on Instagram and is like, this is right when COVID just hit, right? Like, or just about hit. And he's like, you would kill it on OnlyFans. I'm like, what is OnlyFans, bro? And at the time, I was working for an orthopedics company. Like, I'm doing like a real big girl job, not making like any money, feeling okay about it, But I'm trying to make more money. I'm trying to like escalate. But I've been in that job for like 2.5 years, not going nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, they keep you where you're at. And he was like, you do great on OnlyFans. I was like, what's OnlyFans? And he's like, well, it's a site you can like
Isn't it kind of
be exclusive
disrespectful
on
to
with
say
your
that somebody
fans.
would
I'm
be
like, I have
good
no
on
fans,
OnlyFans?
bruh. What are you talking about?
That's
Like, I have like 20K followers on Instagram and that's it. I didn't have any other platforms. And so he was just
Hold on. The fact that she said she only had 20K followers on Instagram, like that's such a low number. Like I've been on Instagram for about 12, 13 years now, and I'm still can't even get to 800. And she talking about 20,000 is low.
was like, well, just start posting it, open it up like through my link, blah, blah, blah. Never used his link. But I was just like, because I didn't know if it was a scam or not.
Oh, yeah,
so I just like created my own little account, had no idea what to do on the platform, and just started like using my bikini photos to promote it. And then slowly I just got like crazy traction because of it. I had bright red hair. I was like one of the first bright red haired girls on OnlyFans.
Did you do that before OnlyFans? Like, was it okay?
I've had red hair for a very long time.
No, she crazy.
When you first jumped on OnlyFans, are you
she's
just
not
posting
crazy, but she was wild.
non-adult type of pictures?
Yes.
So just like
teaser content, like nothing crazy. But the amount I made in the first month was ridiculous.
From just like
how much
skin,
you make?
just a little skin.
Like a little more than a little, but like obviously like showing some stuff, but it was not anything like rated R yet, you know?
Wow.
So I was like, maybe I do have fans.
And so the first, like, how does it work? So, cause I'm.
It's good that you don't know.
Yeah. Like,
I don't even want to educate you on it,
well,
but yeah,
like, not to promote it,
Absolutely
right? Not to promote it, but just for people to understand how it could become addictive or how it can.
She was on Demon
like
Time
the trap
really,
of it all, because we know it ended up being
it's a
bad.
huge trap. The money's the trap.
Okay.
You know, and so many, like OnlyFans has so many.
How much money she
recruiters
making?
Because they'll give you a referral
was
percentage
making.
of whatever that model makes if you sign them up. So they have all these little recruiters out there. Like now, what that guy was like a recruiter, like not hired on by OnlyFans, but was on OnlyFans and knew how it worked and was like, hey, this girl could be big. Let me give her my referral code so I get 5% of what she makes.
Wow.
So that's kind of how it started spreading like crazily. And so I never referred one person to OnlyFans, not once. I just didn't even care. I was like, I'm just doing my own thing and I want to stay off of this, you know? But then I noticed that showing more skin got me more money. People started making more requests, and I was like, I'm like, you would pay that for that? I was like,
so people send you a message saying, if you do this, I'll pay this.
Yup. You can say yes or no to it. You just can continue to like to DM.
Is this
them
a
and
private
stuff.
message you send these
Private
people?
message,
So
yes.
they'll say, hey, if you send me this picture or this video, I'll pay you X amount of money.
Yup.
Hey, you got some horny people
Like,
out
who
there,
are
yo.
Are these like?
Huh?
I'm just wondering the typical character of like, are these all types of people? Do you?
All types of people. It was mainly just men. I
Right.
hardly ever had any women unless they were like lesbian or something. But like that
certain
never
types
really
of men
happened.
or all like business professional, doctor, lawyer, husband?
All of them.
Wow.
All of them. I think, not even I think, I know that our addiction to porn in America is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
It's
And
out
that's
of this
just in
world.
America.
It's out of
Like,
this world.
Crazy. And it's gotten so much worse.
Chad, I actually saw a statistic like a couple of years ago saying that over 80% of all men, and I think it's 60% of all women have seen porn of some point or another, or like had an addiction to it, or whatever the stat was. That's a high number. So Yo, they talk about COVID-19, man. What about PORN, porn? That right there is a pandemic in and of itself.
Worse because of OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, now
OnlyFans exploited it.
Yeah.
Like, OnlyFans, their first year on, made over $1 billion.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
What I see happening is funny. Boy, Satan is crafty. But what
Yes, he is.
what I see happening is like everything gets decentralized. Like music, it's like you can
Yeah.
curate your own music now. You can curate. You don't have to like watch movies. You can make your own on Tubi or whatever.
Yeah.
You can just, it's like, oh, I don't want to celebrity. I don't want to fan over celebrities. I'll become one on TikTok. And now it's like, oh, I don't want to watch pornography. I want to create my own pornographic
That's
dream.
Oh, what a good way to put
And
it.
I
That's
think that's
literally,
what-
it's just a fantasy.
Yeah.
So, and that girl you're talking to, you have a relationship with her online.
Sheesh.
It's not like just a porn star you're watching on a screen and there it happens and it ends. It's like, oh, I'm building a relationship with this girl, but you're not. She could care less about you. I'm telling you that
that's
right.
crazy.
She doesn't give a fat F about you. She's like,
Bro,
give me that bag.
I never did anything like this or like on a strip club or anything like that because my thing was always, it's not for you. Like these dudes be going in here really be catching feelings for these chicks and whatnot. And it's like, yo, it's a business. This is how they make their money. They're not for you. It's not for you. And then on top of that, they're doing it for other dudes. You don't want nothing for yourself? You got to share? Nah. I never got caught up in this, yo. Nah.
You know what I'm saying? I've heard so many girls say this, and I was like that at one point too. I did not care at all. I was
Yeah.
like, "You're paying
It's
me,
just a
man.
transaction.
Keep it coming."
Whatever
Like,
your name is, Nick,
No,
Jake,
literally.
whoever. I'll
Man,
say
these
your
girls
name,
seeing you
just
as
give me the
dollar
That's
check.
signs.
exactly
yo.
it. And then you can
Straight
create
dollar
customized
signs.
content like for them specifically, saying their name, doing whatever they want. You're a puppet. You're literally a pimped out puppet, and your pimps are your subscribers.
Woo! So
Pimped out subscribers is crazy.
give me an idea.
They
of,
pimping
like,
you
the,
out.
The type of money
Bro.
initially, like that's making you say, "What the heck is going on?" Like, is it like, oh, you're making a salary at the orthopedic job, and then all of a sudden you
Oh,
double?
So I was making like $3,500 a month at the orthopedic job, right?
Okay.
A month. My first month on OnlyFans, I made 87 grand.
What?
My
Yo! 87. $87,000 off 1 month? Man, hold on. I'll consider myself a pretty good looking guy. So, man, no, I'm joking. I ain't finna do it. I wouldn't do it. No. Only scriptures. Hey, man, you crazy. Hey, yo, that's hilarious. Only scriptures. But no, man, listen, I get pedicures too, my boy. So don't get it twisted. Hey, I could make some. No, I'm joking. Let me stop. But yo, 87,000 in 1 month, unknown. 1 month, 87,000, bro. Dang, that's a whole salary. A good salary at that. I love Jesus. So, no, I'm not considering doing this, but that's a lot of... I'm not saying I'm going to do this, but what I'm saying, that's a lot of money, bro. And the fact that she made $87,000 on that, like, on 1 month? All right, let me stop. Let me go ahead and get back on.
I was like, quit.
Let me not dwell
Are
on this
you
too much.
serious?
It blew my mind.
We are not promoting this, people.
Not at all.
There's trauma that comes with this.
Oh, I love the Lord, but man, yeah.
And this is like how does
Nah,
that?
bro,
This
that's
just
different.
goes into your account.
Yes, OnlyFans takes a percentage.
Okay.
And then other people you work with take a percentage off of it because you can't do it by yourself. After you have like 100,000 subscribers, you're not messaging them anymore.
Wow.
You got people messaging them for you.
So now your brain just thinking, how can I make more? If I made this much,
That's it.
That's
how can I make
different.
more?
That every month was like, how can I top last month? That was my brain. Like, I fed off of that thought.
And your conscience at the time is not like bothered at all?
I'd say it really started getting bothered when my family found out. And
Now, how did they find out?
so my dad said that someone at his work told him. He didn't believe them, and then he called me, and I was like, well, yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. Yes, I'm doing this. My mom found out because she Googled the name Nala and then was like, it was so crazy. I was at dinner with them, and some waiter comes up to me while I'm with my parents and is like, are you Nala Ray? And my mom's like, well, what? And Googles me, and I'm like,
Dang.
Oh, wow.
this is the most embarrassing thing
Google sold her out.
ever. But then like my mom like cut off contact with me because I then moved to California. We like didn't speak for like 3 years. My dad, however, was a very different story. My dad encouraged me to stay on OnlyFans.
Huh?
Ex-pastor.
Hold on.
Yo.
Wait a minute. Rewind the tape.
What?
Because was he
I
burned
was-
by the church? Was he not?
Of course he was.
Your father encourages it? Yo, what kind of demons was this man dealing with? They want his own daughter on OnlyFans. Hey, man, you got some sick people in this world, bro. Hey. And this man is he's supposed to be a pastor, too. Yeah, he's supposed to be a pastor. What are you doing? No, that man was dealing with demons for real, for real. Yeah, generational facts. That's exactly what that is.
He never brought that up
What in
really,
the world,
but like
yo?
for me, I was paying him. I was giving him money like every month because like, you know, he's got such a hard life, or he's like wants to quit his job, or like his other kids need a divorce lawyer or custody over their first child, or, you know, I'm like, here. Every time he called me, it was like, hey, yo, I don't want to bother you about this, but like, I'm like,
That's tough.
Sure.
I'm sorry. That's
there you
tough.
go.
That's
It's
tough.
so tough
And
now.
put it- inherited
And
the
during
horny
it, I was just
demon,
like,
bro.
oh, at least one
No,
person
for
in my
real, for
family is
real.
speaking to me.
Yeah.
But like now, I'm like, when I finally decided to follow Christ, I called my
That
dad.
dude
My
was
husband was right next to me.
horny.
And I was like, hey, Dad, I'm getting off of OnlyFans. Like, blah, blah, blah. I was so excited. He was like, well, why don't you just stay on another year and a half and like make more money and, you know, like settle yourself in? Because, you know, it's really expensive right now. And I'm like, did you really just tell me to stay on OnlyFans?
So the daughter's trying to leave, and her dad, the one who his semen went into her mother, produced her, and he's saying, "You stay in the only." Nah, bro, nah. That's why he trying to go to prison now. That's why he about to go to prison now. Hey, somebody need to do like a real background check on him, because ain't no telling what else he's gotten into. Oh no, this man probably like was an associate of Diddy or something, yo. That's crazy.
Like, did you really just say that to your
Yeah.
daughter?
No,
Did you
no,
really
no.
just tell me to continue making porn?
We're gonna pray that your transformation encourages Dad, and he's like,
That's
"Wow,
crazy.
wow." We're gonna hey, listen. If he did it for you, he can do it for anybody.
That's true.
So we're gonna pray for that. But
I'm praying every day, man. It's
No, that
so
money's
hard.
crazy though, for real.
you said you were embarrassed when they found out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, also I'm married, so no, I would never do OnlyFans, all right? I'm a married man, a happily married man, so I wouldn't do it. But I'm just saying that money is crazy. Just want to throw that out there.
Were there any other people that found out and you were like, "Oh my God," or was it just mom and dad?
Just
or-
mom and dad, basically. Like my siblings, I didn't really care too much about. Like I just
Okay.
wasn't thinking about it, you know. Obviously, it affected them in some way.
Yeah.
But like for me, I just didn't care. Those are like my siblings. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna do what I want. You guys are doing what you want to do. You know, you guys are already popping out babies with other people. Like I'm like,
I
who
got
are
you.
you to judge me? You know.
Why does mom say, "I don't want to have any contact with you anymore"? Like, what's the?
So she just basically the last thing she said to me before I moved to California was like, I hope like you're happy in all the choices you make, you know. And it was such a sarcastic like kind of way, and I was like, okay,
Sounds
well,
like she was shielding herself from hurt.
absolutely, because she's
Yeah.
like, I know I didn't raise you like this. I'm like, but like, how did you raise me then?
Yeah.
Like,
It's easier to be like, I'm not gonna deal with this.
Oh yeah.
Than to like deal with the constant pain and reminder of seeing your child go down a dark path.
Facts.
So,
And I can only imagine. I don't have kids, so I can only imagine that pain.
Yeah.
I really can't grasp it in my head.
Yeah.
So like I understand, but that disconnect from her and like my family is what threw me into like porn. Because I was like, I got nothing else to lose.
so F it. I'm out
F
here.
it. I was like, let's go full
Yo,
send.
this is why I'm scared to have a
Because I'm
daughter,
like,
yo.
I can make more money
This
anyway
is exactly
like this.
this right here is why I'm scared to have a daughter. And she, like, I have to be like the best father, man, because there's way too many influences out here that will bring. Oh my gosh, Lord willing, if I end up having a daughter, I want 4 boys. I want the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for sure. But if I end up having a daughter, yo, I'm gonna have to love and protect her, yo. And I'm talking about be all over her soul today. She might more than 50% of the time she will feel suffocated by me, bro. Cause ain't no way in the world I'm gonna let who or whatever, like she feel a type of way and then she go into stuff like this. And I'm not saying men can't do it either, they can't, but it's just seems like women have it. It's a much easier way for women to go there because of all the emotions and stuff. And yeah, I'm fattening my daughter up until she turned 25 or something, because ain't no way in the world
And nobody seems to care about me anyway. I didn't have friends, didn't have my family, and if I did have my family, he's encouraging me to do it. So I'm like, cool.
How long were you on OnlyFans?
5 years,
And how much money do you think you made in total?
14 million. Okay, I didn't.
14 million. Oh my god. Oh my gosh, 14 million. That's life changing. That's life changing. That's prayer answering. That's like hunger and sickness eradicated type of money. That shut up, I'm talking money. That is step aside, young man, I'm walking type of money. That's that if you don't follow me back, I'm coming to find you on social media type of money. Lord have mercy. 14 in 5 years? That's like $2.5 million. That's $2.5 million a year.
Like I grossed that, I didn't net that kind of
Still,
thing. Like I know.
You generated $14 million. That's
crazy.
You generated like multiple people's lifetime of money.
I make athletes money.
That's crazy.
NFL player over here. No, I'm just kidding.
Now for the person,
Yo, that's a whole
the
flex.
person who's watching this or listening to your story, and they're like,
Dang, I could make that money. Oh man, it comes with the price of your soul.
come on, break it down. Where does it? You're in LA. You're bald. Wait, before you even get to how it breaks down, how because people never hear.
I'm praying for your
That's
daughter, bro.
true.
the emptiness
I'm
of
praying
it all.
for
Oh,
the
man.
purity.
So talk
and
about. Let's just
sanctity
talk
of
about.
all
Let's talk about it.
Talk about.
I'm
girls
excited.
First,
out
talk
there.
about the highlight reel. First, talk
This is a
about like
dangerous world we
living
live
it
in.
up.
Right, you're-
Oh
My
yeah, so
goodness.
I'm living in a $3.4 million house alone. So my rent was like $16K a month. I was driving a Porsche, had super crazy designer bags. Like I went to other places in the world to go.
She had
buy my
Birkin bags
designer
out the
bags.
wazoo.
So like one of a kind or one of this and I had my closet. Every room in my 6-bedroom home was stuffed full of clothes. All my clothes. Like had it all. Had a wicked gaming setup because I love playing Call of Duty. You know.
shout out to COD people.
Shout
out there.
out. Please sponsor me. But had it all. Like I had my 2 dogs. I was chilling. I was single.
Yeah.
Like making millions.
Yeah.
Like it just didn't feel like they call California La La Land for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
You are stuck in a cloud of just like not even knowing what day it is. I smoked a lot of weed.
Yeah.
Every day was high.
Yeah.
You know, I never got into drinking, but I was so high every day.
You think you needed to do that to
Oh,
like
yeah.
shut your conscience down
to
from
be numb.
Yeah.
I felt a lot of things, but I needed to be numb to focus on my work.
Wow.
You know, and it did. I just started taking Adderall for a while and smoking weed just to like get this little more of a high. Had to stop taking that because my heart rate was too fast. You know, felt like I was going to have a heart attack.
But you got
But-
essentially no family.
No family, no friends, because everyone in California is fake.
Right.
There's no one who's there who's like your
Especially
real friend.
in the industry.
No,
Right.
not at all. Like they're all like, oh hi, like, oh my god, and you're like, okay. And I just spent almost every day like inside my house, like just making content. You know, I never got sick of it. I was just at home. I learned. I started taking martial arts. Did fight scenes. I learned bow staffing, nunchucks, samurai stuff. Like I had all the time and money to do just cool stuff.
Yeah.
And I started taking Japanese, and I was just like, oh man, like I'm living the life. I can pay for all of my hobbies. Like, and I get to stay at home. And it felt good. But again, I was so calloused over. Like you couldn't say anything that would hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
I was so high. Like
So
I didn't care.
You couldn't even tap into your emotions.
Not in the least bit. I didn't cry, I swear, for like 2 years. Like, didn't feel anything. Like, I felt a lot of rage. That's why I started boxing, you know? And like, just getting into like all these physical stuff. Like, I hit the gym so hard.
Yeah.
Like, and I had like anger, but not like feelings, you know?
It's
I
funny.
wasn't happy. I was just like, mellow. Yeah.
There's a book I read called The Body Keeps the Score, because I was very similar, right?
Okay.
And it's like I went through all this trauma, but I was pretty callous. And The Body Keeps the Score is a book where it talks about like no matter what you went through, your body, you may feel like, oh, that was the past, I got over it, but your body's like, we never did.
Your soul never did.
Yeah, it's still inside your nervous system, your soul. It's like it's still there as if it happened yesterday.
Right.
And
your brain can push things.
Right.
It really does a great job of that to like protect you.
Sure.
But like your heart,
all of it.
you have soul ties everywhere, like strung out.
So when are you starting to realize? Because it's got to be hard to be wealthy, you know, fake popular, to realize like I'm empty. When did you start to realize like, wait a minute, something's not right?
You know what's crazy? I didn't realize it until I met my now my now husband. We met on TikTok. I was not feeling anything, you know, up until this. We met on TikTok. He was live battling. You know, I was like, oh, this guy's cool. He's got his whole body armor on because he's like ex-Air Force, you know, has
live battling.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
So like you can go TikTok live where it's just a screen of you, but then when you battle, it splits the screen between two creators. Okay. And you battle to make the most coins. You know?
Okay, I see what you're saying. But he was dressed up for the battle.
He had a solid bulletproof helmet on with nods. He had
that man was dedicated.
level 5 plated vests on. I was like,
that man was dedicated.
Is this like? Right. And obviously I thought he was cute, but I was like, I went in there and gifted him. We won the battle, and I was like, oh, that's cool. Little rush for me because like I like to win, obviously. Yeah. And he went off. He like threw his chair. He was just like screaming my name, and I felt like I was like, oh yay, we won, you know. Yeah. And it just gave me this rush and whatever. Like that wasn't the big deal. He sent me his work number, and I was like, what am I gonna be your work number? Like, I don't want to talk to you. Like, I was just in there for the win, you know what I'm saying? I ignored him. And then I saw his live again the next day, made him win again, and he FaceTimes me. And I was like, why is this boy FaceTiming me? Like, I got freaked out.
Wait, how did he get your number?
I texted it to him,
but
he was like, FaceTime me, and I just didn't. And I gave him my number, and he starts FaceTiming me, and I'm like, why is this boy FaceTiming me right now? Like, I'm literally both right now, like, leave me alone. Like, and then we just got into this crazy deep conversation. We stayed up for like 7 hours talking to each other. And I was like, oh, this guy's hurt. Like, this guy's going through some stuff. Like, he had been through a previous relationship, and just where he was in life, he was just a little hurt. I could tell that. And I saw that emotion, and I was like, oh,
I don't have that.
I don't have that.
Yeah.
I don't feel that. Like, I was so curious as to like what he was feeling, because no one in LA ever talks about the real stuff. They're never gonna open up to you about what's really going on. Everything's just great.
Yeah.
Everything's just great.
Yeah.
And it's like reality hit.
I couldn't live in LA, chat. I'm sorry. It just sounds.
By this. I was like, I gotta
know
him better. Like
what
he's going through. We stayed up for 7 hours on FaceTime just talking, asking each other the deepest questions about our lives. Yeah. And
Up
I was
until then,
super
no
open.
one. Up until then, you were just objectified.
Very.
No one cared about the real you.
No one cared. He had no idea who I was because again, he was not on that side of the internet. He's like a Christian.
He just saw
content
you as
creator.
as a person on TikTok.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, dang, she's got a really big following. You
Yeah.
know, cool." But like, he didn't care at all. Like, he didn't even ask me what I did, and I was like in love with that. I was like, someone
Somebody
who doesn't
knew you
know.
for me. I'm seen.
Made me blush. So we just kept talking, became best friends. Like nothing sexual. Like obviously, like he's good looking and he knows I'm good looking, but it was so far past that.
Yeah.
Like for him, he got to open up to somebody who he doesn't know, and he thought I was like really cool. Like
Yeah.
I'm a country girl at heart. Like I can talk really deep. You know, I love hunting, fishing, like all this cool stuff. And
Yeah.
he's
Hunt,
on stick,
fish.
so like we just
Sound like
bonded
my neck
over
of the
that.
woods.
But like also, I
Alabama.
felt very comfortable opening up about my feelings and like what I was going through. I right off the bat was like, you know, I'm on OnlyFans, right? He was like, what's OnlyFans? And I was like, all right, well, let me tell you, and you don't have to be my friend after this. But he was like, oh, I don't care. Like, just completely did not mind. Obviously, like questions started to happen later on. Like
Yeah.
he became curious
Of
because he
course,
started
of
seeing my
course.
content that was very promiscuous.
Of course.
And the one thing about
What's your
that
body
Jordan
count?
is
There
what
had
he
to be
did
a
differently
question,
with
or
me
maybe
was
it was
like
too many
he
he just
started
didn't
sending me
wanna
Bible
know.
verses. Like would just text me Bible verses, send me Christian content, and I was like, bro, like, come on, like you think I'm gonna watch this? You know what I'm saying? Like, but then he like outright one day sent me a like video being like, I know you may not want to hear this, but like God loves you so much and you are so worth it. Like what you're doing is not right. And like called me out, called my sin out.
That's a real one.
I got so defensive.
That's a
I
real
was
one
like,
right
I'm
there.
ready to stop being your friend right now. Like, I'm like, how dare you judge me? That's what I felt like it was,
Yeah.
but it wasn't.
Yeah.
He was not judging me in the least bit. He was like loving
you.
me. And I was like, I understand that now, but man, back in December, I did not get that. I was like, dang. Because we met in late September. We became boyfriend and girlfriend in January, but he would not date me until I gave my life to Christ. But
So
that
he's
was
a bunch dating.
Oh, he like
He's like, Lord,
Missionary dating at its finest.
no facts. But he prayed for me all the time. He'd send me voice notes of him praying for me, and I just
Wow.
didn't even know what to do with that. But let me tell you, like, the one night God met me where I was. He was just always there, but I met him.
Yeah.
Like truly was Jordan was upstairs falling asleep on FaceTime, and it was like 2 a.m, and I just felt weird. Like my emotions were stirring, but I couldn't like explain it. And I walked downstairs just by myself. And for some reason, I had gotten my Bible out of the cabinet in my living room and set it up because I'm sure I needed something in that. But I set it up on the counter and it was like right in my view. And I just started crying for some reason. And I was like, oh my gosh, like what's going on? I freaked out. And I was like, sitting down, looking at my fireplace. I looked over at my Bible, went and picked up my Bible, didn't read anything, but I was just flipping through it because I'd highlighted so much stuff in there from my past. And I was like, man, God, I used to know you. Like, I used to know about you, you know? And I just started praying. I told God so honestly what I was feeling. I was like, God, nothing is filling this void. I feel nothing. Like, nothing's working. Like everything I'm trying is failing. It's all slipping through my fingers like sand.
Wow.
Like I don't know what to do. I don't know what you want me to do. Like you need to tell me what I need to do because I don't know. And I was so open and honest with God. And that's all God wants is just your honesty. He doesn't need you to come to him clean. He needs you as
Honest.
you are.
Now, what do you think?
That's good.
Because you're talking to God.
That's really good.
Obviously, Jordan's planting seeds.
Yep.
You already have some seeds planted from childhood. But what do you think when you're saying you're coming to God saying I feel empty or I feel this way? Like when are you realizing it? Did you already know you felt like this or is it like hanging out with Jordan and hearing the pain and sharing the stories was helping you come to the realization?
It helped me.
Okay.
Definitely talking with him and just being real with a person who wasn't judging me. Like, he didn't care what I had to say. He was there to listen.
Yeah.
And I was like, dang. And then he would reciprocate with just being open and honest
real.
with his life. And I
That's
loved
real. He
that.
met
I
me.
was like, I can trust you.
powerful.
And I don't trust anybody.
Yeah.
Like, especially in California, you don't trust nobody.
Yeah.
Like, I barely trust myself, you know? So... But like this moment happened with God where like I really can't clearly think of a time where I've ever heard God's voice. So this was that moment. I was sitting down in my living room sobbing. I don't know why I'm crying. And I'm like, God, you need to tell me something right now, like demanding it. I was like, you gotta. And he just said, I was all you ever needed. That was it. And it answered all of my questions. Like, why does these bags not make me feel good? Why does my Porsche not make me feel like great? And like, why do I feel empty? He was all I ever needed. And all I'm doing is filling it with materialistic stuff on top of all this money.
Wow.
And I'm alone because of it.
Who was Jesus to you before
Where I was, yeah,
all
no,
of
that's
that,
powerful.
and who is he
That's powerful.
at that moment?
Like a genie in a bottle.
Okay.
Like when I was like more so like a young teenager, I'd be like, oh God, get me out of this situation right now. My parents are mad at me. Like, I don't know what to do, you know, but that was it. I never had a relationship
Baby in the
with
face.
Christ ever.
Yeah.
You know, it was only praying to
was on
God when I
milk.
needed to get out of a situation. Like I was cheating in school. I needed to get out of that like situation because they're calling my parents and I got to go to detention. Like, God, get me out of this. Like, make this not happen.
Right.
Kind of thing. Just like a genie. Like, don't know at all who he is really.
And then now Jesus is
Man, like even saying he's my everything is not enough. Like that's how I feel. Like my soul needs him. Like
I like that.
I've never been a reader until I became a Christian.
Yep.
Like
Same.
I can't get enough. Like the
Same.
Bible's not enough for me.
Yep.
Like I read my Bible and I'm like, okay, so what's next? So I pick up a book from John Bevere, The Awe of God.
yeah.
The Holy Spirit by John Bevere. Driven by
Yo, all those who don't know who John Bevere is, fire dude out of Colorado Springs. I actually went to college with the church in college rather, with his daughter-in-law now Christian. Super chill, super cool girl. But no, John Bevere is fire, and I've heard of that book, but I've never read it. But nah, it's fire. It's fire. He's fire.
eternity.
Yeah.
I love soul care. The Power of a Praying Wife. Like I started
just
reading.
consuming Christian content.
I can't
Well, what
help
you're
it.
doing is funny because I went through the same thing. I didn't grow up in a
Really?
Christian household, but I had a radical transformation. And what we're doing is we're literally trying to change our mental maps because we like have thought one way for so long.
So long.
And you're like, I got to change the way I think about everything. What is this? What is that? And I'm curious. So how fast did you get married?
So fast. So we met in late September. We started dating in January. We were married in March.
January, February, March.
Dang.
September, October, November, December, January, February, March. So in 7 months, y'all are married. Hey, listen,
fast.
I got married in. Mommy said we dated for 4 months. We were engaged for 6. No, married, dated 6 months, engaged. So 10 months. So I get the quickness.
Yes. Well, when you know, you know.
Yeah.
No, me and my wife, we dated for 9. We're engaged for 5 because we were long distance. So being long distance, it kind of elongated things. So like I get it, but dang, to go from OnlyFans to a holy matrimony is insane. A testimony, but insane.
Yes.
Like we did not believe in like.
No, they weren't playing at all. They were trying
you
to
know,
get to
like,
the bedroom
just
ministry.
dating for a long
no
time because there's so
problem, yeah.
much temptation.
They were trying to
in
get to the
that,
bedroom
especially
ministry.
For someone like me,
Yeah.
and he's a male, so like
Yes,
we're both
sir.
attractive people.
Wheelchair
like, we're like,
ministry,
no,
as
no,
I
no,
like to call
If
it.
God's called us to get married, we're gonna get married. We're not gonna wait.
Yeah.
One more day, like we're not falling into that sin trap. Like
Right.
Hey,
we got to do things.
He said we try to get to the wheelchair ministry. We ain't playing around. We ain't wasting no time. I love you. You love me. Let's get to this bedroom and do what married folk do. What these grown folks do.
right? Like we
Yes,
know we love
sir.
each other. Like this man led me to Christ. He was the only person there at my baptism, like
crazy.
saying how proud he was of me, and we weren't even dating. Like hugging me when I'm drenched, crying my makeup off, like, and he's just there for me fully, you know. But he had great standards there to begin with, which I encourage all men to have with finding a pure woman. Not that I was pure, but you know what I'm saying?
But
Like
sincere,
finding a woman,
yeah.
you need to be prudent in that. Like you need to have those standards. She's not supposed to be making up those standards. You are, you know, and he did. He kept those standards solid. Like, and I didn't, a lot of people even ask me, like, didn't you just follow Christ to get married? I was like, absolutely not. I didn't know if we were even going to get married. I didn't even know if we were going to date. Like, we weren't dating. We were just best friends. We kind of liked each other, but I was like such in a crazy lifestyle change that I wasn't even like worried about that. I was like, hold on, there's some stuff going on with me I got to deal with. And at one point I tried to push him away because I was so scared.
Yeah.
I was like, there's so much going on with me right now. I don't know if we can even, you know, even be friends right now. Like, but God had different plans and he put him in my life literally to help me come closer to Christ. And, you know, once he saw that, I was so genuine in it too. Like, he didn't want to just be like, he didn't want to just see that I got saved, I got baptized. He wanted to literally hear me say, I'm deleting OnlyFans. And I did. I was like, dude, I'm getting off.
That's
I'm
where I was
done.
going to go.
powerful.
Is
Yep.
like,
That's
is
powerful.
the, like, some people have like, you know, these radical transformations. Some people have like a process, like, you know what I mean? I think when you look in the Bible, you see people, their lifestyle or their action or whatever they're involved in can change overnight, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I was a slave and now I'm free.
Yeah.
But generally it takes a while for character
To
stuff
build.
to start
Agree.
changing. Was there anything for you that was like, I don't know if I want to delete this, or
Yes.
Okay, so
Oh man, I went through all those feelings. I was scared.
was
Like it's
familiar.
pure fear at
Familiar
that point. You're like,
territory.
yes,
Yeah.
I just made a huge decision to follow Christ. You know, I'm a baby Christian. Like
Yeah.
I'm just now
Milk.
digging into the Bible a little bit. I'm learning how to pray, you know? So I'm like, okay, like, but I felt so much conviction over not just the OnlyFans, the way I spoke, my perverted tongue, cussing, modesty, like who I had in my life. And the
Coping with
OnlyFans.
smoking all the time.
Smoking. I had to quit smoking weed. I was like, dude, I'm not being sober minded. Like, I
Wow.
can't even think straight right now. That was a process too.
Yeah.
But like, you know, making this decision was like such a big deal because that door of darkness was still open. Anything could have come through it.
Yeah.
It could have destroyed our relationship.
Yep.
Like, the money didn't matter anymore. It wasn't about that. You know, like, if you trust in God, he will provide.
Yeah.
But you do need to give up this stuff of the world so that you can follow him. Like God says, pick up your cross and follow me. That cross is not light.
yeah.
You know,
Woof.
it's hard.
Yeah.
It was like, I want to say one of the hardest decisions of my life because I'm saying goodbye to my financial freedom. I'm saying goodbye to like security. Like I've been my own boss for like 6 years now. And I'm comfortable. I didn't even think I needed a man. I'm like, I'm cool with it if I don't ever have one. You know, like I don't need a provider. I am the provider.
That's that hurt.
And were
know?
you spending it as fast as you were getting it at that point in
Oh,
time?
yeah.
So
Oh,
it wasn't
yeah.
like, okay, here's my long-term future plan. Here's what
Well,
I'm.
I was kind of smart with my money. I started
Okay.
like a brokerage account,
Okay,
an
okay.
IRA. So I did throw money into good stuff too. But like another thing I do want to address with people, there are like so many people come at me and be like, you know, if you really changed, you would have literally donated that 14 million to charity. I'm like, number
Why?
one, I did not make 14 million. I made OnlyFans 14 million. So like
You grossed 14 million.
Dude, they take 50% of what you make and I have to pay taxes on the whole of it.
They don't know about their taxes.
Tell me. I hope she ain't complaining about the fact that she had to give away 50% of 14 million. That's still $7 million. You're still classified as a multimillionaire, all right? Let's not get that. Let's not get lost in what she just said, all right? She still made a crap ton of money for what she did. Once again, I do not condone OnlyFans. I don't support it. this, that, and the other. But we ain't finna sit here and be like, oh, these people take so much of my money out, now I'm left with nothing. No, 7 million is still 7 gosh dang million. All right? Back to the video.
In California,
They
oh
don't
my
know
God,
about
my
those
first year
taxes.
paying taxes, just state taxes alone in California was 70 racks.
See?
I was like,
Yeah.
why am I living here?
That's what I'm saying. People don't
Still
know
making
about
7
that,
million.
But like I'm saying, also, God did not call me to give up my funds. If he did, there you
You
go.
would,
Because
right.
he would provide.
Sure.
He is the provider.
Sure.
I never felt called to do that. I felt called to get off of OnlyFans and stop making that money,
Yeah.
not to give up my entire life.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
I sold all my designer things. I gave up my Porsche. I drive a Jeep now. Like, dude, minimalistic life is great.
Yeah.
It really is. It teaches me a lot, and I'm very humbled by it. So
Yeah.
it's not like I didn't. Like, my thing is like, dude, I grew up poor. I got really rich, and now I'm, middle class again.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know.
And I see plenty of examples. I mean, if you even look at Joseph in the Bible, who went through hell and high water, thrown in prison, then he ends up working for Pharaoh, making tons of money for Pharaoh. And Pharaoh's not like a good guy.
No.
But you're making all your money off the back of Pharaoh, but he uses his money to help his family, his brothers,
That's
so on
true.
and so forth. So it's not
Yeah.
like he's like, oh, I can't do I'm out of this job. I'm
right.
not
This
working
is not
here.
pure money.
Yeah,
Like,
so I get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But you did address like people. Do you face a lot of backlash and people saying like you're fake or
so much. It's just, if you go on any one of my social media platforms, there's hundreds of thousands of comments about people thinking I'm fake. And I'm like, I love that we dug into like the deep of it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because they're like, this story built a really long time ago. It didn't just me popped on to OnlyFans. I just happened to become super popular. I was dedicated toward a cause that I fell in love with because that's all I had to love.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Because I wasn't being loved, you know? So I was like, all right, bet. It's not that God didn't love me. I just didn't know God loved
Yeah.
me, you know?
and you found love.
True love.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you found the real love at the end of the day. So what would you say to either people who are on OnlyFans currently or people who are thinking about it? Like, what would you advise or talk to them about?
It's, wow. Like, obviously, I could just say don't, but like, it doesn't even give a depth to what you pay for in price. Like, it's not just your soul, man. You pay for it in your thoughts. You pay for it in your body. Like, you are a slave and you don't even think you are. Like, now that I'm out of it completely, I'm like, I was literally hundreds of thousands of people's slaves.
Wow.
Like, that's what I felt like. This is what I feel like.
Yeah.
During it, didn't feel so bad, didn't look at it like that. And during it, I was like, I'm the boss. I'm like, no, you're not. You're really not. So if you want to pay that price, like, that's your choice.
Yeah.
I'm not here to tell you to do whatever you want with your life, but like, you need to make the decision very carefully.
Yeah.
Because there is a price to pay, even though you're making money. Man, the devil can give you things too.
Well, that's the thing is
Like, he can give you things to stay away from God, and that's
Yep.
exactly what he gave me. He gave me an option to not follow Christ.
Yep. And we're
I
all
took it.
slaves in
We
that
are all
regard.
slaves.
When we're not free in Christ, we're a slave to Satan. And that's the thing is I love your story because what it expresses is that like Satan always
Yeah, that's different. I never
Shows
thought about it like
you,
that too. I'm sitting here processing.
like the bait
Oh, yeah.
without the hooks that are going to be stuck in your mouth forever.
Yeah.
Like
and then
it-
you can't get it out.
Right.
Like, you on your own cannot get it out.
Can't get it
God's got to
out.
get that out for you. And you know the devil's not going to take it out.
Right. And some of
So-
us escape, like yourself, the hooks, and you got to do some therapy to deal
Yep.
with some of but some of us escape and lose limbs and lose pieces of
That's true.
ourselves. And I don't want that for anybody else either. It's like, hey man,
Because
God.
it's like you almost can't get that back.
Yeah.
Like that part of you that is now completely ripped off.
Yep.
It ain't coming back. It's not growing
Yep.
back.
You gotta
like,
just
deal with it that it's gone.
walk with the Lord and know that, man, that was the cost of doing business with the
Ooh.
devil.
when you think about how heavy that is, like the cost of something, like porn is literally like you pay for it with your soul.
Yeah, I'm
Ain't worth the
super
14
encouraged.
million.
Like, I just feel like, you know, you dealt with
Still
a lot
14 million, but still.
growing up. And
Man, that's a lot of money.
number one, I praise God that someone who
I'm
went
still
through
stuck on the
everything that you
87,000 on the first month.
is able to come out on the other side.
Jeez.
You know, because that little girl who went through all that trauma and experienced all those things, like there's a lot of Nalas out there
Oh yeah,
who are like,
there are a
well,
lot of Lecrae's out there.
right. Well, where's
Yeah.
my love? Where's
Where
the
is
love?
it?
I never saw it in the right way. And I hope your story just encourages people to say,
too.
oh, there's more.
I just hope it encourages people to really believe in God's love.
Yeah.
Because that's what saved me.
Yeah.
Feeling true love by my creator. Like I wasn't a mistake and I finally felt that. I was
Yeah.
like, awesome. I have a purpose. It's not to make money and it's not to self-serve. It's not to buy this new Gucci bag on the shelf.
That's
it's
good.
not to travel the world. It is to serve and fear God,
That's good.
my creator, who I will spend eternity with in heaven. Like, oh, what a temporary residence. Like, I feel like I'm renting from this
good.
world. You know, and even the Bible talks about it being your temporary home.
Yeah.
Like, why would you want to be famous in a temporary place?
Man, come
I'd
on.
rather be that in eternity, man.
Yeah.
Hey, that's
If
a
I'm
great way to
toilet
look at
scrubber in
fame.
heaven, I'll be like, thank you.
Why you want to get famous in a temporary place? That's a dope way to look at it. I never thought about it that way. Why try to be famous in a temporary place when it's always gonna fade anyways? Like, what's more important? That's dope.
I'm in heaven. I'm in heaven.
Like, I'll take it any day. Like, I just want to be here. I just want to touch you. I just want to see you. Like, but I highly encourage anyone who is like, I have a lot of people who ask me, like, how did you get stronger in the Lord? I'm like, man, I prayed. I asked the Holy Spirit. And you know what I found so crazy? After I started reading, I found out more. Like, reading the Holy Spirit book taught me more about who the Holy Spirit was. He's not just like this floating cloud, man. Like, dude, he's here for you because God's in heaven. Jesus is in heaven. They sent the Holy Spirit to be with you here. Like, my communion with the Holy Spirit has gotten so firm. And then like the awe of God's teaching me to like, you know, sit alone, be in God's presence. Like you're just, I'm like learning so much about God and I feel like I'm still thirsty.
Yeah.
And that's what's so
still
great
share
about
that
it. I'm like,
relationship
you
with
guys got to keep that thirst for
Facts.
Christ. Like don't let it
I'm
go
gonna talk about that
dry.
after this video,
Like
so.
keep it coming, keep it coming. So if I can encourage anybody out there, like just keep getting to know God in more ways than one. You don't just need to read your Bible. You don't just need to pray. You need to like worship, read about him, sing about him. Like sometimes I just like making up my own worship songs in the shower. I'm just like singing what's in my heart about God. Doesn't sound good, but you know what I'm saying? Like he's like, oh yeah, let's go.
It sounds good to him. What I love, Nala, is first of all, this conversation is phenomenal.
It was so good. Doesn't even feel like a podcast.
I know.
It just feels
Well,
like a living room chat.
And that's because it's just
Fantastic.
authenticity, man. And that's what you bring.
This is
But
real.
Right.
what I love is, I think a lot of times, and this conversation has really made me feel that to a different degree. But a lot of times, I think people are waiting for like this big Christian figure to like turn the wheel and change the world. And I really believe God is saying, no, it's gonna be little people everywhere in all these little
Everywhere.
departments just turning the wheel.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Like mine was the porn industry. You know, other people are like, man, rappers.
Exactly.
Like
Just,
actors. Like every industry. And you don't even need to be a big person. Like
Yep.
you're changing your life in your little community.
That's right.
Like you
That's
are
right.
changing, you are planting seeds. We are harvesters now.
Yep.
You know, we're not the seeds anymore. We are literally harvesting.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
like,
yeah.
you know, you can't help that sometimes it falls on deaf ears or like haters' ears. You know what I'm
Hey,
saying?
it takes time, but the seeds
does.
get planted, and I've seen it, and I love what I'm seeing. And man, I'll be praying for you. I'll be praying for you and
sir.
Jordan. I
Thank you.
love it. I can't thank you enough.
Thank you so much.
So dope, man.
So
Yeah.
blessed, man. I
Yeah.
really feel like the Holy Spirit was like here. I
Oh.
feel so like at peace in my heart right now.
Facts. Facts. Woo!
Yay!
Man, that was amazing. I mean, to hear that kind of testimony from a former OnlyFans person, like to be in that kind of darkness and to come out of it, and like you said, Plopicus, like you could tell she has a relationship with Christ. It's not even like one of those like baby, like oh I'm this that and the other, or you could like she has like that smell of like that former life on her. Like you could tell that she is fully devoted and like just continue to being refined in her walk